Hey guys, Funsho here from We Coach Crypto. Hope you're all doing well. Today we have got special guests with us. This is Alan, and he's part of our inner circle. He also is on our trading program and long-term investment program as well. How are you doing today, Alan? You okay?
I'm good, thanks, Funsho. It's good to be here.
Yeah, thank you for coming along. Really happy to have you on today, and looking forward to having a chat with you as well. So, just to give people a little bit of an update and introduction. So, you've been with us since around February time, haven't you, Alan?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I
Yeah.
did. Yeah, I had basically it was just I was kind of looking around at different things to invest in. Like actually over Christmas time, when I was looking around, and I read an article about blockchain and cryptocurrency and things, and I was really interested in it. I was like, all right, this is pretty interesting. And I ended up going down a bit of a rabbit hole for a few days, reading all these blogs and videos and things. And I was like, this is awesome. This is really interesting stuff. And then when I was thinking about what to invest some money in and realizing that like don't really get much money in an ISA or whatever, I actually read this thing about people making money in Bitcoin, and I was like, oh, so this is the thing that I was reading about. And yeah, I bought some Bitcoin on Coinbase and was thinking, it's quite good. This is going up in value in a few days. But then I was like, oh, I should probably be thinking about this a bit better. I don't really know what I'm doing here. So yeah, that's when
I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with you. I think it's the same thing for anyone. The first time they get into it, it's kind of like you start going down that rabbit hole, finding out a little bit more, understanding the technology, and then it's sort of a mind blown moment, and you're like, right, I've got to look into this further. But obviously, when you joined us, I mean, you really hit the ground running, and the market was aggressively taking off. And obviously, between you and I, obviously, the following day it worked out quite nicely for you after you after you got involved. But what sort of brought cryptocurrency onto your radar initially, Alan?
I mean, it really was. I think it was obviously went to get a bit of Bitcoin, and but then I was thinking, oh, there's a lot more to this. I remember reading about like these other different projects and things and use cases and how you could use blockchain for this and blockchain for that, and there was different things, and I'd heard about like I don't really even know what like the other things were other than you had kind of Bitcoins. So I think like just it was a bit of a just I just was aware of it, like reading about it and stuff, and then I was thinking, I think I could be doing a lot more here, or like I need to learn more about this. And
yeah, so with you sort of looking into it from that perspective and thinking to yourself, I've got to look into this a little bit more. You're obviously fresh, new to it. You don't really know much about it. So what was your sort of initial approach to this?
yeah, so basically, my initial approach was I'm going to buy some of these bitcoins. All right, look, they're going up in value. That's cool. Like I should do more of that. But then I was like, well, then I read like some, and then you go into YouTube, which is full of people that have got opinions, and not all of them are like they're opinions, they're not facts. And then like I read about dollar cost averaging, and so I decided that's what I was going to do. So I was going to set up a standing order twice a month with Coinbase, and then you can get some in there. But then obviously I was looking on Coinbase and there was all these other projects and stuff and things, and I'm thinking, I think I could be doing more with this like than I'm doing, and like I need to understand more about what these other things are, and I can, it's a mine, it's a huge web of researching things. How am I going to like get results? How am I going to get results out of this? How am I going to get my head around it faster? And I need to find some people that know more about this than I do, because otherwise, like I might miss the boat here. Was part of what I was thinking.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. I get exactly where you're coming from with that, because you know you do, the further you go into it, you realize how much more is actually out there, how many different sectors there are, and how many different projects there are, and which one should you go for. And this YouTuber reckons that one's going to go to, 200 times more, and this YouTuber says, actually, no, don't buy it. And it's actually overwhelming how much information's out there. And like you said, you can see clearly that there's an opportunity, and it's like, well, what do I do? So, I mean, you've obviously explained a little bit about sort of your journey starting out. So when you got to that stage, you're sort of going on Google, you're looking things up, you're looking at YouTubers, etc., etc. How was it that you eventually came to us and found us?
Well, I just googled it, and then that was the top. No, I mean that's actually that's the truth. Like that's really the reality of what happened. But I knew in my own head that you needed to, like, if you're going to, like, I can't remember, I think it's like a Steve Jobs quote, like, if you're going a long way, go with a partner, and if you're going fast, like, go alone. But I was thinking, like, this isn't a short-term thing, like, this is a space that's just new, that's evolving, that you need to kind of learn about, and you need somebody who can help you. And I was like, oh, you probably need like a coach or something. So I just Googled like coaching cryptocurrency, and it came up like We Coach Crypto, and I was like, oh, that sounds ideal. But then I joined the free mastermind group that you guys had on Facebook to kind of dip my toe into the water, because one of the things I'm really conscious of, even in the research that I did, there's so many scams. There's so many, like, I in the past, I've just associated this with something that criminals use, basically, and like people were getting hacked, landing Bitcoin and things. So I was very sensitive to the fact that there's a lot of crime potentially associated with the space. I mean, that was my understanding at that point, and so I had to be really careful who I worked with, and the if I'm going to put my own money into it, then it's going to be that I'm doing the right thing with it, and I'm not working with somebody that's going to try and trick me in some way, take from me whatever, compromise my security in some way. And I checked into your free mastermind group, and I started listening to you on Clubhouse at the time quite often, Funsho, so I started listening to that. And actually, I was pleasantly surprised, because it just sounded like you had a good attitude about it. Like, it was about, yes, we're all here to seize this opportunity this year and make some money, but actually, let's help people. Let's try and help people at the basic level about how do you get into it, how do you get started, how do you not do stupid things. And there's a lot of people with their shirts off, standing next to rented Lambos in Facebook advertising, right? And I know that you guys do content with Lambos and things. People like that.
Of course. I get where you're coming from there.
Yeah, but it just seemed like when I was checking out the content, and when I actually finally spoke to you, Funsho, it just seemed like it was credible. You were out there to actually yes, you're running a business, you're there to help people to make money and to make money yourself, but it just sounded credible and something that you could potentially rely on, and it sounded like you knew a truckload more about this stuff than I did, which admittedly at that point was not very much. So yeah, that's how obviously we kind of got started with that.
Definitely. No, I appreciate that as well, Alan, and I get where you're coming from, and I think, if I can get a little bit longer in the gym, then potentially I can take my top off next to a Lambo, but not just yet. But no, you're right. I think that is the number one thing that people are scared of as well. It's, they're everywhere. It doesn't matter what it is you're getting involved in. It's just rife with scammers and different, ways that people can fleece money off you. And you've got to have that trust there. You've got to have that credibility there. And, that's one thing that we pride ourselves on. And I'm glad that you're saying that, Alan. I do appreciate it. And right, so for you personally, what are some of the most important things that you feel you've learned along the way with We Coach Crypto since you've started?
There's a lot, right? So this could be a big 20-minute spiel, but I think some of the key things would be to have patience. Really, this market is very volatile. You can the first day that I got into this, I made an appointment with you, I loaded up on, put all my money on the exchange, put it all into BNB, woke up the next day, to get ready for the appointment. We had to get the portfolio set up, and it went up like 25% while I was sleeping. Do you know what I mean? But equally, 2 days later, there's nothing. I mean, it kept going up from there, which was fantastic. There's nothing to say that it can't just drop like 25% down.
Of course.
And really to be patient and think about the long term, and think about, like, when it drops, great, take advantage of the opportunity, top up if you can. If not, you just need to chill, because you're on a long-term journey, and if you believe in it, then over time, you'll get the returns. That's probably one of the biggest things. But just see, when you're getting started in something like this, even basic stuff like, how do I buy it? Like, how do I buy stuff? How do I set up an account in the exchange? What's a hardware wallet? Like, how do I use that? Like, what's another wallet? Like, what are these things? How do they work? Like, what's a decentralized exchange? What's a like, what's an altcoin? Like, all of these basic things, like, just it all just, like, comes to you, and then you start to understand things. But I think, like, the daily updates that you guys do, the news that you share, the community that we're in, there's a group where other people are contributing as well, and saying, "Oh, I found this looks good," and then, like, you guys will go off and analyze it, and then come back and say, "This looks good because of blah and blah," or, "Look, this looks good, but don't get into it just now because it's like top, it's at its all-time high. You're going to buy it and then it's going to drop." There's been a lot of, like, guidance that you guys have provided about that stuff. Some of it I've not listened to as well, and then I've went and FOMO'd in and bought things that were at an all-time high, and then had to cry a month later when it dropped like a stone. But the information was there. Do you know what I mean? It's just so I think there's a lot of things that I've learned. Everything from the basics of, like, how to set up a hardware wallet, how to get an exchange, to more longer term, like, strategy about buying a dip or managing a portfolio so that you've got liquidity to take advantage of things. There's so much.
Thank you. No, I appreciate that. And I think you're right. I think a lot of people, they don't get how much there is to actually learn. And, don't get me wrong, you can go off and do all of this by yourself, and you can figure it all out, and you can listen to different YouTubers and Instagrammers and everything else. You can listen to us and our free group, but ultimately it's the amount of time that it takes to actually get that knowledge and apply it correctly. Because unfortunately, this space, because of how much there is to learn, there are a lot of things that can go wrong, and it's, can you afford to keep making mistakes and really long out that process? And one thing that you said earlier, which I have to touch on as well, is the fact that, you felt like you didn't want to miss out and miss this opportunity, which obviously you're in now. You're in this space. You're an investor yourself. You trade too, and as a student, you're someone that has come along leaps and bounds, like, unbelievable. Your knowledge that you've gained in such a short period of time it's impressive. But it's so important to highlight that we are still ridiculously early in this space, in this phase. And, that's something that I think a lot of people don't realize. They think, oh, Bitcoin went to £64,000 and it's dropped right down. I've missed out now. That's it. But the more you look into this, and the more education you've got, and the more knowledge you've got, and you start seeing the infrastructures being built and the companies that are involved in this, the banks, the hedge funds, you start realizing actually we're still very, very early on, because this thing is going so much higher.
Yeah, it's the thing that I've really, like, this is one of the other things that I've kind of learned, really, is that, and especially, like, this recent pullback has really highlighted it. All the things that are coming out in the news, right, are really positive, and they're really like, oh, this is coming and that's coming. And so, but actually, like, somebody that works in the technology industry like I do, it's like, we're saying, oh, Cardano is one of the top projects in the world, and, it's got this huge market cap and things. It doesn't work. Like, they don't have a live platform yet. Like, they have smart contracts. It's something that doesn't even function as a fully functioning Like, I mean, if we went out in, like, the technology industry and tried to sell something that was like that, like, oh yeah, it's hopefully going to have a functioning platform by the end of the summer, give us like 34 billion for that, people would laugh at you. You would get thrown out. Like, you wouldn't even get in the door. So a lot of the and the market got, like, obviously it went and blew up, like the Coinbase IPO and things, but I just think a lot of that's just speculation and excitement about what's to come.
Of course it is.
It's not based on the fact that, well, there's so many million transactions happening on this platform a day and they cost this and therefore the value of it's that. It's literally a lot of it's speculation. And yes, like, Bitcoin and Ethereum and things, they have lots and lots of real live use cases, and they've got adoption and people are using them for purposes. But the majority of the other things, if you look down the kind of top 20, like, good, decent projects, the majority of them are like, they're just a twinkle in someone's eye at the moment. You can see it. So if you think about, the way that I think about that is like, well, wait till they actually catch some serious adoption. Wait till like Cardano actually starts running smart contracts and people start building their companies on that. Wait till the Africa stuff rolls out and things. Wait till these things actually start getting used, because they're all like just pre-release, test nets and things like that at the moment, which it's just, it's not even like it's so early. It's just
it's kind of like that. It's still at the innovator stage. It's like people coming up with fantastic ideas. The technology's groundbreaking. They're showing people that it can work and it will work. They're gaining huge partnerships with countries. I mean, look at Cardano. It's unbelievable. And banks are scrambling to get involved. Bitcoin's already showed what this is capable of doing, but there's so many that have come along now that can do way more. They've got so many other use cases, and it's just mind-blowing to think what this space is going to look like in like 5 years, 10 years. And if you get in early enough, if you're in now, God knows what this is going to look like in 10 years' time. And I just think that's the part that's lacking for a lot of people from an education standpoint, and also seeing the bigger picture. I know that there's stuff going on with XRP with the SEC at the moment, but they're a perfect example. Ripple as a company, the partnerships that they've got with banks and the amount of countries that they're in, and they've got an actual product that's already working that companies all over the world are already using, and they're sending transactions from one side of the world to the next side of the world in seconds for next to nothing. It's like, this is groundbreaking technology that we're talking about here, and people think that, the ship sailed. It blows my mind. But one thing that I wanted to talk to you about next as well is, obviously you've spent a lot of time researching this space yourself, and I love that about you as well, Alan. It's like, we've said to you about certain projects that we feel that you should be in, and you've been learning along the way, but you've gone off and came back and been like, hey Funsho, what do you reckon to this? I've been looking at this NFT and the music industry and things like that, and I can see that might blow up. And it's like, there's just a wealth of different opportunities in different industry sectors out there. What is it that's out there at the moment that's interesting you, and why?
Yeah, I think I'm really part of what's interesting me at the moment is techie stuff, because if I am in that mindset of it is early and there's a lot of speculation in the market and good marketing and things, and that's blowing the price of certain assets up. But if you're in this for the long term, you've got to be thinking, what's going to get adoption? Like, what are people going to actually use that's going to like have money behind it, in the same way you're talking about Ripple there. So I'm really interested in stuff that's techie. I'm really interested in looking at like the technology industry and seeing like what might it actually use. So I like all the protocols, like I like all your Ethereum competitors and stuff, because you can see like Ethereum's getting used, and you can see that the other like protocol layers have better advantages. They are the next generation, and so on and so forth. And so DeFi is a thing that's really kicking off at the moment, and I see that that's going to really be, these are going to be, that's the infrastructure that's going to run all that. Like that's what everything needs to be built on top of, and so these platform layers, to me, are the closest to actual real world stuff that's going to get used properly, and so therefore it seems like it's more interesting as like stuff to put your money into. I do also think a little bit like the out to the future as well, like what's the the future of things. And a lot of the NFT stuff seems really cool and seems really buzzy and attractive. The Audius that we talked about, and I was like, got into that, and I was like, what do you think about it? And you were like, it looks really good. And then I got into it and then made a whole bunch of money out of it, which was pretty nice. But actually, that's way, way early. Like, that's competitive to Spotify. Like, and that's just not. I think that's got another few years ahead of it before it probably picks up. It's my personal opinion, before it sort of kicks off. But things like the, in the like space like AI and things like that, the future disruptive technologies that are changing large enterprises at the moment, like things like AGI and these types of projects, I think they're really exciting. And the early adopters, the techies, are going to jump on that type of thing. They're going to be able to use that in projects and stuff, and use all those different tools. So I'm quite excited by stuff that techies could use just now to do innovations, because that's where we're in. We're in the innovation phase. So if developers are going to pick it up and start using it now, then cool. But like for the end consumer, for me to think, like that my mom or dad's going to suddenly like move to DeFi like next week, like that's 10 years away, or maybe never. So
I'm with you.
So I think, but I do like I mean, personally for myself, I'm fascinated by the whole DeFi space, and I do think that that's sort of like massive potential as well. So basically everything.
Everything, anything that's to do with it. But no, I agree with what you're saying as well. The DeFi space is booming at the moment. NFTs as well. There's loads of celebrities that are getting involved with NFT space, and they've been releasing their own stuff. Christie's, Beeple, very well known. But I think what you said there, which I want to jump on as well, like just with Audius, for example, it's the fact that you're able to identify a project based on learning and getting that education first, to know how to go off, look into a project, look at the tokenomics, look at the community, look at the partnerships, and also be able to have that foresight for the future that, do you know what, this looks pretty good. It's just come out, I've jumped on it. You've already made substantial, gain on it, but then to hold on to it, knowing in the future that adoption's coming. And that's the bit that I think a lot of people miss. What they think is Bitcoin's had its day, Ethereum's had its day. They already have that use case. They're being used all around the world already, but they are still early. They have still got loads more growth to come. But these projects that we're talking about now, where you're talking about AGI, you're talking about Audius, they've still got to do that whole run and gain that adoption and be used in the real world. Yeah. And that's where the big gains are going to come. And when you sat in projects like that, ready, and you've already, done all of your research, that's where there are serious gains to be made. And another thing that you said to me, which I really liked and I felt it was important, that was about the community and camaraderie with We Coach Crypto. So why is that important to you? Because I remember you saying to me previously one particular thing about the fact that, like, you gave me an example, I think it was about your wife saying that, I've just bought this coin, and she's like, well, I don't care, kind of thing. It's like being able to have those conversations. But please, if you could
Yeah, I mean, like something like like got into like Pancake Swap or something, like you guys were like, this is looking really good, like things are serious growth. Got into it like 2 weeks later, it's went up like 40% or something. And I'm like waking up on a Saturday morning like, Pancake Swap's up like 42%. That's amazing. And they're just like looking at me going, what? Like what is that?
Yeah.
But also, so there's a little bit of like, we're all on this journey together, and other people will people will be like, oh, that's brilliant, like I'm going to get into that now as well, like that's actually looking pretty promising. Or people will just rock up and say like, has anybody read about this? And then like 3 different people will give 3 different opinions, and then you can actually, because you watch something on YouTube, right, and you think that looks quite interesting, go into the group, post about it and say, I found this, I think it looks quite interesting because of this. And then 3 or 4 people will actually comment about, I got some, or don't do this, is like blah blah blah, or I heard that and such, and then you and Dean might go off and like analyze it more and give like more of a view on it that's more of a sort of professional's view, and say, right, well, here's some good points and some bad points. So there's part of the whole, like, we're on a journey together, and it's good just having a bit of like backward and forward of like, yeah, high five, like that's great, or oh no, the market's like today, like what, everyone's just like hating themselves for doing this, but then you all kind of keep each other together, and you know that like in 2-3 days it's going to come back, whatever. So I mean that's really positive about that, right? You're the sum of all the people that you kind of spend time with. So I think it's really good from a learning perspective, to learn from people who are at the same stage in their journey, or maybe slightly ahead of you, as well as having like, you know, professionals there who are like obviously way further down the journey. Like I think that's really valuable. It means that you don't feel as stupid about like asking a question as well, when there are people in there that are just in the same boat.
No, I'm with you. I think that's really important, because I know how that feels, because we've all been in that position before, and you know, we make sure that we're highlighting that, you know, there's no question that's stupid. You know, we're all sharing voice notes and opinions, and you know, links and videos and articles and everything that people need to know is there from, like you said, a professional standpoint. But you've also got, you know, that fellow investor that's turned around and said, well, I bought some of that a couple of weeks ago, and you're like, oh, what? He got it 5 pence cheaper than me. And, you know, and you've got a bit of banter and a bit of fun as well. And I think that's important, because, you know, it's not just about the fact that, you know, that we've got this professional service that, you know, you'll get your alerts and news and all this other stuff. It's like, we're a family. Okay, we're normal people. We're all on a journey. You know, yeah, we've been doing this for 5 years. We know a lot about it. We provide a great service to people, but at the same time, we're human beings, and we'll have a laugh and, you know, come on England later, and you know, all that kind of thing. So it's you got to have a bit of fun as well. You know, that's what it's about. But where do you feel then? I know that we touched on it earlier already, but where do you feel we are in the space and the future of the industry? So just like how, you know, from an early perspective, just this is your opinion as well. Just where do you think we are, and how much more is to come, and what the future of this industry looks like?
I mean, like I think there's two sides to it. There's like, I think a lot, like when you are thinking about investment and trading and things, you think about the future as being like, what's the price action going to be like on, you know, that now in a year's time, or in 6 months' time, or at the top of this cycle or whatever. Like, and like that's I don't know, like how you speculate on that. Like I think that it's going to go up a lot. Like if history is anything to go by, it's going to go up a lot, right? And that's one of the reasons why we're all in this space. And then like the actual technology itself, yeah, it's pre-adoption, most of it, you know. And like I think that a lot of it's so early. I mean, it's literally like a whole bunch of like pilot type systems and things that are out there. And I think a lot of it'll be like the .com boom, which I'm just about old enough to kind of remember something about it, although I was pretty young. But you know, like that, like, you know, there was a whole bunch of things that seemed like they were really good ideas, that were all the flavour of the month, that were like whizzed up and stuff. And in actual fact, it was just smoke and mirrors, and there was nothing under it. And then there was a whole bunch of stuff like Amazon, you know, and eBay and things like that, that actually did, you know, seriously like take over the world and like change people's daily lives, like in a way that no one could have imagined like 20 years ago. Like no one could have imagined, like if you know, you wouldn't be thinking like, oh yeah, I need to get like, you know, whatever it is, like in, and then just like click it, boom, done, delivered for free the next day to your door. You know, like just people wouldn't have seen that type of convenience or where it could go. So I think it's like that with the whole like cryptocurrency market. And you know, I mean, history shows that stuff has just continued to go way up in value. So I'm really hoping as an investor that continues as well, and I think it will. But it's a case of it's a case of what things will and what things won't, and that's where you need to be smart. Like, and you need to, because it's a long term game, you've got to kind of believe in stuff. you've got to believe in it. If you don't believe in it, then there's no point. I mean, there's some stuff that I got into when I was early on in this, and you were kind of like, yeah, like it looks okay, and then I got into it, and then I was like, oh, this is crap. And I've just sold it eventually because I was just like, I don't believe in this. Like it's not going anywhere. Just get out of it. So I think there's that, but yeah, I mean, it's like, yeah, it's not even. There's hardly anything with any live adoption, so it's super early. It's actually, in the market pulling back as well. Like, I mean, it's pretty much back to where I got into it first. So
yeah,
kind of in many ways, I'm like, I've got a chance to have another go at this with like a whole bunch of experience behind me, and really like think, what am I going to do differently this time?
yeah.
And there's a lot of learnings, but the main thing I'm going to do is just be more patient and just not buy things because it's early and it just takes time.
Of course, and I think what you said there, I have to agree with it. That reference to the .com boom, that's how I see it too. It's like the next Facebook, the next Amazon, the next Google. It's going to come from this space. There's no doubt in my mind about it. And what you said as well, which hit the nail on the head, is people would not believe that in 10 years' time or 20 years' time that they're going to be able to do some of the things that they can do. And what you said there, like you said, if I spoke to someone 20 years ago and said to them, oh, this company here, what you're going to be able to do is you're going to be able to go and buy all your groceries just using your computer, and then they'll deliver it to your door the next day. They would think you're crazy. They would think, what is this guy talking about? And I think that's where the education comes in. It's so important by looking into it further and doing that research and understanding where these things are going and having that belief in the project. That's how some of these people already in this space have become multimillionaires, billionaires, some of them, because and that's still at this early stage without the adoption. When the adoption comes, when the banks come, when the hedge funds come, I mean, there's 650 banks in America that are going to be opening their doors soon to allow normal customers on the street to buy Bitcoin.
Yeah.
It's like that just blows my mind, because I've been in this for a while. To think that we're at that stage now and it's still early just blows my mind. It honestly does. So we're coming towards the end now. What I wanted to ask, which is important as well, is if you were to give any advice to people that are watching, that are new to this space, what would it be?
So I said already, have patience. Do things smartly. Like, just actually, I can't downplay the value of me going out there, finding some research, something on YouTube, and then I have never asked a question in that group that either you or Dean haven't personally given an answer to. So that value of get a team round about you that understands what this is more than you do, because that's going to help you get results faster. But actually, more than that, it will stop you losing money, right? Because it means that you won't do as many stupid things like buy, these all these meme coins and stuff which are, two people in the world made some serious coin in it, but everyone else is just watching their thing the window. But I think the other thing is to have the thing that I wish that I'd done was to keep some liquidity on the side for when pullbacks happen, because you feel like once I did that, once I've made enough in my core portfolio, I could take, you'd given some instructions and things about how to rebalance your portfolio and things, and we'll go into that now, but able to take some money out the side and have that, because I kind of felt like when that happens, psychology, the market pulls back. So the market pulls back and you've got some extra money to spend, you're like, yes. You feel like a tennis player waiting for the ball to drop, and then you're going to smash it across the, and then kind of knock it, just absolutely crush it, rather than thinking, I put all my money in this and now the markets went down and oh my goodness, I'm just losing all the time here. So it's just like that mindset change. And then once you do that, it's like you wake up in the morning and you're like, it's pulled back like 15%, it's pulled back 20%. You're like, maybe it'll come down another 4 or 5% and we'll get in. That's great. Like, that's been a phenomenal thing to learn. But I've, in the short time that I've been in this, I feel like I've learned all these things that maybe could have taken me 2 or 3 years to learn them on, or maybe I would never have learned it. I might have just got out of it by now. If I'd just been buying my Bitcoin every month, I might have been thinking, oof, this isn't looking too healthy, and bailed. So,
Fair enough. No, I appreciate that. Shared some very valuable information there, Alan. I appreciate you coming on today. Pleasure as always. And to everyone that's watching, I hope that you've taken note, because there's been some gems shared in this video. For anyone that is interested in working with us, please, all you need to do is comment the word crypto underneath this video, and we will send you some further information, whether you're interested in trading or long-term investment. I'd like to thank you again, Alan. Thank you very much for coming on today, and we will catch up with you guys in the next one. Thanks, Alan.
Cheers. See ya.
Cheers, mate. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.